An incredible location, a site that was just discovered in 1972. A previous civilization was here, and it just might have been civilizations. Today we have found the Lost City, an ancient city that was found in Colombia, where they just found this place in 1972. And then, based on a wild guess, by asking the local rabbit, they figured out that this was believed to have been a city from 1,224 years ago, in the year 800, supposedly predating Machu Picchu by 650 years. Not 700 years, not 600 years, but pinning that down to exactly 650 years. All thanks to Bugs Bunny and his friends. This place is incredible. The entrance can be accessed only by climbing up 1,200 stone steps through a jungle in Colombia. Could you even imagine the people of the 800s, the stories that we are told about them, where they had no power tools, no cars, just barebacking the heck out of that donkey, all the way up the steps in the jungle, just riding the crap out of that donkey for miles, bringing the stone all the way to the site and just suffering. It's complete nonsense. They clearly had technology back then that we are not being told about. The site consists of 169 terraces carved into the mountainside, a network of tiled roads, and several small circular plazas. Now I'm going to show you how they steal the items from the site. Check this out. In 1972, they found this site. They tell us that this group was a small family of looters in Colombia. This is the group that supposedly found it. And maybe they did. But when they tell us that they found it by stumbling upon the stone steps while hunting a wild turkey. We have all seen the story where they found caves in India while out there hunting tigers. Reoccurring stories yet again, where they're just off hunting animals and accidentally bump into some sort of old world palace. So they climb all the way up the stones and discover an abandoned city. This is in 1972, remember. And out of nowhere, there's now a murder and a fight breaks out among this group. So then the gold figures and ceramic urns from the old world site begin to appear on the black market. Of course they do. Who killed the sun? Was this done by the hidden group? You tell me. And then alerting the archaeologists, because their ridiculous mainstream narrative just might get exposed. What did this group find at the site in Colombia in 1972? Needing to alert the archaeologists and a team led by the director of this group. And they got to this site before that year, 100%. But we are all given the year 1976. I don't believe that it took 4 years. There's no way. And for the biggest giveaway of all time, and to blow everybody's mind at how this operation works worldwide. And our true history is 100% hidden from all of us. If you were unsure before, this should wake you up quick. The site was reconstructed for 6 years. They destroyed and are hiding our true history from all of us. Between 1976 and 1982. Can you believe what we just read? How can anything be trusted from this point forward about this site? How can we know this? Look at the narrative and trust what they're telling us about it. It could not be any clearer that they have stolen the old world items. They destroyed anything that would have shown the world that they are liars. And pretended like they just knew all about the 800s. Complete robbery. Total manipulation on a grand scale. Whatever is left from the site today is crumbs. It is nothing compared to what was actually found in 1972. Now, the thing about the jungle is that they couldn't just go in there in the 1700s, before we all got here, and chop the heads off of all the statues, like they did in all the other continents. So when they found this place in the 1970s, they had to rush in there, most likely kill one of the people that found it, because these people, they didn't want to give it up. They had just found something incredible, and then they just sent the superhero archaeologists in there. It is a clear operation. This is how it works, or at least did, where they left behind this rock for us to see. Pretending like the old world just grabbed some rocks and scratched a bunch of marks on the rock. When, let's all be honest, they probably just did this to the rock during the renovation project. This rock is not from the old world. This rock is from the 1970s. Then they go on to tell us that indigenous peoples had established advanced communities 1,500 years before the Spanish had arrived. Meaning, 1,500 years before 1492 is the year -8 in advanced community. And then we all went back to dirt roads in the 1800s, sleeping in huts. But at the exact same time, we are told that they were the most advanced group ever. And we are all evolving and advancing. How many of you think that we are evolving and advancing now? If I had to take a guess, it's not as many as before. Telling us that they had gardens in the year 8, growing tomatoes and corn. Can you believe that they made this stuff up for so many years? And we were all just like, oh yeah, the corn. Wow. Yes, the avocados. This is crazy. Come on, archaeologists, tell us more. We want to know more about the year 8. I just want to hear so much more about the corn that they grew. Tell me all about the tomatoes and the pineapples of the past. Tell me all about the year 8. How the children from 2,000 years ago would be told stories from elders and learn to create fabrics to make clothes. Can you believe this is what we are told? Can you believe that there are so many people out there still that believe this nonsense? I really hope that nobody is looking at this saying, yeah, you guys, they really did tell stories about making clothes 2,000 years ago. The archaeologists know all about this. They learned all about this by brushing away the dirt with their paintbrush. And I know this because the scholars told me so. They went to school for this, and they would never lie to me. They wouldn't totally distract me from the truth by telling me all about the corn and tomatoes from the year 8. They wouldn't do this to me. It is incredible what we have all been reading for years and fully trusted. And for so many, they still do. Around 1970, farmers learned of the possibilities of finding old world great treasures. So these farmers organized themselves without the archaeologists, which the mainstream did not like at all. So they changed these farmers' names from farmers to looters. These people, the farmers, are doing the same exact activity that the archaeologists do repeatedly. This activity of finding the old world items without an archaeologist present, or in other words, the mainstream narrative being present. This is an illegal activity. Can you believe this? Our entire history is 100% controlled worldwide, and this just proves it. Every single site in the world has gone through the controlling group that writes the stories the way that they want to. They add what they want to the story and remove items and anything that doesn't fit in with the mainstream narrative, and they keep it for themselves. And yet again, another story where the farmers, that are now called looters, went deeper into the Sierra until 1973, when they found the lost city and found all of the old world items. So another group, which I'm guessing was the mainstream narrative, sending their group in. And of course, both leaders were killed in a bloody combat. They did not want these people reporting on what they found. This is incredible. Now there's something called LiDAR, which really started working in the 1980s. LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging. It uses laser pulses to measure distances by sending light to a target and measuring how long it takes for the light to bounce back. This creates a highly detailed 3D map of landscapes, structures, or objects. Thousands of these measurements are taken per second, and this works in jungles. So today they can go and find these sites so much easier. They have found all of them at this point. There's no doubt about that. I can guarantee that there's no more farmers just going off into the jungle and just finding random old world palaces in 2024. This group can now just fly one of these drones over the jungle and map the whole thing out. And we can all see this right on the World Monuments Fund's website, where they tell us that archaeologists completed LiDAR mapping of this location in 2019, where they found more than 200 structures, including dwellings, terraces, stone paths, plazas, ceremonial sites, storehouses, and canals. And guess what? We all know there's more that we are not being told about or shown. In 2023, they let us know that the WMF took this site on as part of its project portfolio and will, of course, continue to work at this site, meaning that they have found more. Now, I do find it extremely odd that they would leave any of these places. It's one of three things, in my opinion, at this point. It's like they either don't care if we figure it out, they want us to try to figure it out like it's some sort of game, or they have to allow us to be able to figure it out if we want to. Otherwise, we all know that they would have just blown this place up and just said that there's a war among the farmers and called them looters. And one of the looters just decided to bomb the place because if he couldn't have it, then nobody could. And we would all believe it for years because they told us. And they wouldn't lie about that. But the fact that it's still there in some capacity is very interesting. Now, just looking at these photos and knowing what we know, I would guess that there is so much more underneath this. I would guess that this is a roof and there are tunnel networks underneath it. And this is what they could be looking into starting in 2023, where they continued to work at the site, especially when we are told that the lost city in Colombia does have underground tunnels. There are reports and evidence of tunnels. These tunnels are believed to have been part of a system that connect different areas of the city and possibly linked this lost city to other settlements in the region. Possibly. Maybe. When we all know that it does. They are still being explored and studied today, showing that we were correct yet again. And we know exactly why the WMF is back at the site in 2023. They have found so much more. Much of the site remains hidden in the jungle and continues to be uncovered by the mainstream narrative. No. I mean archaeologists. The complexity of this site, its architecture with its terraces, circular plazas, and elevated paths, suggests that the builders, the old world, as we all know here, were highly skilled builders who may have used the tunnels as part of their infrastructure. Could you even imagine what is going on in these tunnels? What do they really lead to? I have to be honest. I start these episodes off by just being amazed by the sight that I'm seeing. And then after getting into the episode a little, I start wondering, does this site have tunnels? And time again, in every single country, all over the world, it has a network of tunnels, structures, under our feet, which makes me wonder, if it's in every single city in the world, like we've seen here, do these tunnels all connect to each other from North America to South America? Is there a massive web under our feet that has been there from the old world? How many people are in these tunnels today? What is going on below our feet? It's so interesting when you really think about it. It's basically a whole other world right below the ground. and we have shown how many people that are not adults go missing every year. On average, over 8 million people that are not adults yet. They go missing worldwide each year. 8 million a year. Where do you think they all go? How is this even possible? This is an alarming statistic. We have shown how these tunnels connect below schools. We have shown that they connect to churches. They're connected to state capitals. Where do these people go? I ask these questions sometimes, hoping that you can answer them yourself. There is a massive issue below our feet. We have a lot of skulls and femurs, bones that have been boiled and cleaned up. They have been stacked into geometric patterns below churches all over the world. We have 3 episodes on this to this point. They are now called catacombs, where it is estimated that over 1 million people per year purchase a ticket to support this. And they just go looking around these catacombs. We have been fooled for so long. As a whole, an incredible operation that has honestly done a really great job accomplishing its goal, to keep the masses in a trance. So they just found this place in the 1970s, and out of nowhere, in 2003, 8 foreign tourists were kidnapped at the site. And I have to ask, how many times do you think this has happened over the years that we just didn't hear about? And 2 years later, the site was up and running again. And there have been no problems since. And they make sure we know there have not been any more kidnappings that we know of. Remember, this place has been fined for so long. We finally find it in the 70s. And in 2009, it now needs our help, of course. The Global Heritage Fund has been working to preserve and protect the historic site against the climate. So we have so many groups here today, all interested in this location for some reason. There has to be something going on there. Multiple groups just hanging out, protecting it from the sun. We are told from people that are going to this site today, you have to be very careful here because most accidents happen on the wet, uneven steps. The stairs lead steeply up the mountain like a green tunnel. You can read the rest, but getting to the top of this thing is insane. Uneven steps, steeply up the mountain. There were no horses and wagons climbing up this mountain. And it's apparently only bearable to get there in the morning hours. The previous civilization was incredible. The amount of sites that we have shown to this point is unbelievable. I think back to places like Mount Nemrut, where they were up in the sky basically, constructing stone faces, or caves in the middle of the jungle in India. Palmyra, Syria, having massive columns all over the place. What an incredible place that we all live. So many structures from the old world that have now been shown to the world again. Clearly, there was an advanced group of people here that had incredible technology and so much more. I think that the people that we all think of as incredible inventors today, I would guess that these people are chosen and used as the front people to give all of us the old world technology back slowly, all according to their plan, so that it's all done in a controlled manner, a controlled environment. Just based on everything that we have seen, this seems most plausible. It's exactly what I would do if I had all the old world technology and had an end goal of wanting to rule the world. I do find mistakes once in a while, such as the camera. I do believe that this was a mistake. I think that it was given back a little too quick, unless, of course, it's all a game. That they wanted to see if we could find this information. And they knew that we would need to be able to see the past, the 1800s, with the Cologne Cathedral or the Milan Cathedral. Palaces in the background, with the 1800s dirt roads, their wooden sheds, wooden wheels, and the horse and wagon community. We would need to be able to see these pictures in order for the game to continue. In order for us to understand what we are looking for. I really enjoy sharing this information with all of you. It is really cool to see this community grow to a bigger and bigger audience every single week. Being able to reach brand new minds every day because of all of you. Now, there are so many places in the world that just don't belong in our timeline. Just like we have shown over and over, with ridiculous narratives that are clearly made up, where they just find the place and then know all about what happened at campfire story time in the year 8, including this site, staying in South America. We have the site of Pucara de Tilcara, where it's becoming so clear that based on the rediscovery dates, that our timeline just started a few hundred years ago, just like we have stated from episode 10 onwards, where they rediscovered this location in 1908. To clear this up, that means that they just found it. Finding it in 1908. This is not a rediscovery. This is a discovery. Finding it in 1908. And then cataloged over 3,000 artifacts during the first 3 years of digging, clearing about 22,000 square feet. Incredible. In 1966, the Archaeological Museum began. This site is unbelievable. They didn't just find artifacts, they found bodies, telling us among the most valuable is a mummified body discovered, fully clothed, in an excellent state of preservation, where it is, of course, no longer being exhibited. You cannot go there and see the body. It is no longer open to the public, blocking all of us from the truth over and over. I'd love to know how many times we have found things that are just being blocked off from all of us. How can we trust the narrative when they don't even show us everything? I'll ask you something. Would you trust me if I did this to you? Of course not. So why is this acceptable for them? I don't believe it is. So they tell us that one body was found, where we all know that there was more. And that one body is being blocked off from all of us. So what else is being hidden from us? 5,000 valuable historic pieces that were found are on display. Could you imagine what was found here? And at this point, we are so locked in, fully understanding that these narratives have coded patterns. I love exposing these patterns to all of you, finding the patterns and never looking back, making sure that the narrative gives us all the pottery. You gotta give them the pottery, okay? So they don't ask about all the other stuff in the back. The previous civilization. The previous civilization was not just over there making a bunch of pottery and then having stone palaces, webbed underground networks, connecting it all with the stars, and then saying, okay, let's go make some pottery. Johnny, go get me the clay. Babe, I don't know if I'm gonna make it for dinner. It's gonna be a busy night with my clay pottery set. Just having arts and crafts nights on Wednesdays, basket weaving on Thursdays, and warrior training on Fridays. This is absolute nonsense. Telling us all about the year -8,000. Saying that traces of human habitation date back more than 10,000 years, with this tribe just moving in around the 12th century. Finding all of this in 1908. And then pretending to know all about the -8,000s. At this point, it actually seems like they have something wrong with them. Only if they actually believe their own lies, of course. I don't know, Brian. What do you think? Well, this stone looks a lot like a stone from the -3000s. I don't know. That sounds a little too close to our timeline. Well, -5? No, I don't think so. What about 8,000? Yeah, that sounds better. Let's go with that, yeah. Well, see, Brian, do you see where it's chipped right here on the side? Right on the corner? This right here is clear evidence of a basket weaving, pottery making civilization from 10,000 years ago. So don't forget that for next time. I don't know what I was thinking suggesting the -3000s. This is crazy. And then we all sign up for their indoctrination classes. Oh, wait, no. I mean, history classes. And we all enjoy these stories about pottery makers of the past. And these history major individuals, they get really interested in it. So interested and invested that they want to go and visit the site. So they get on a plane, they get there, and then they're told that they can't see the body because of ethical and cultural concerns and or conservation issues and or it's now illegal. And then they say, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. What else do you got? Well, we have some pottery. Oh, I'm so interested in pottery. Sign me up for the pottery. That is what I came here to see. And then off they go. I've personally had enough of the pottery excuse. I am ready to see the skulls that are being hidden from us from episode 96. I want to see the tunnels under the state capitol buildings that were meant for us from episode 100. I want to see it all. I believe we are on that path. The more people that know about these places, these sites, the things that are blocked off from us, the harder it's going to be to keep them locked in the basement, away from all of us. We know here that these heads were chopped off all of the statues all over the world, where I believe that they expose that the old world had elongated heads, elongated skulls, a civilization that was not here as far back as we've been told. I believe that this is the reason that they find these heads, these skulls, and they either destroy them or they simply hide them from all of us over and over. And we are just getting started. Welcome to the Old World Research, where we expose some of the most incredible sites in the world. Sites that do not belong in our timeline. Unless, of course, you understand that there was a previous civilization here that was extremely powerful, having technology that would blow our minds. Leptis Magna, located in Coms, Libya, where a massive, extremely advanced civilization was busy constructing stone structures. Columns all over the place, a palace, and I don't believe it was thousands of years ago, like we've all been told. I believe that this took place very recently, based on everything that we've seen and everything that we know. And we all know that when they begin to tell us that the city was found in the second half, not the first half, but the second half of the 7th century BC, roughly 2,700 years ago, just pinning this date down thanks to the local bush. Like we have shown, these dates are absolutely ridiculous. They are unable to explain construction dates in the 1800s. Yet they know all about the second half of the 7th century BC, 2,700 years ago. No. Where little is known about Leptis during this time. Of course little is known, because in my opinion, this story is fabricated. Simply put, it's story hour for adults. Adults that don't want to look into information for themselves, or just haven't done so yet. We have massive stone columns all over the place. And then we are told that we are evolving and advancing so much that we end up riding around on horses, living in sheds and wiping with our hand again. Evolving from stone and granite palaces all over the place to dirt roads, outhouses, and no electricity. And out of nowhere, the 1800s hit. And every invention that you could ever imagine just starts flying at us. Everything from the phone to the plane, the train, the car, TVs, iPads, computers, you name it. Everything. This narrative is not logical. And we know this now. The previous civilization had all of these things and so much more. And their construction that is left behind for all of us to see proves this. The narratives surrounding these sites are so ridiculous, showing that they are completely made up because we all point out the flaws in the narrative repeatedly. These sites expose the fact that we are correct, and we are not being told the truth about our history. And there is a clear attempt worldwide to suppress who we are, what we are, and what we are all doing here. When you look at this site and look at what still stands here today, you don't need a narrative to prove anything. You can see for yourself that something is off. You can see that things have been suppressed. Information, sites, including this one today. Why was this not the location that we were all given on day one? Why not? Well, we would 100% start asking questions. We would all ask, why hasn't my town built one of these in the last 100 years? I thought we were all advancing. I thought we were evolving. I thought we were the most advanced civilization to ever live here. Yeah, it is kind of odd that that is in every single continent in the world. Stone structures that are chiseled perfectly. It is kind of odd that we went back to donkey riding cowboys. Leaking roofs, hammers and chisels, no light bulbs, and bathing in your local pond. Just like we showed in Palmyra, Syria in previous episodes, Libya also gets a palace theater. And again, something happened here in the 1800s, the beginning of our civilization's timeline, where part of the ancient temple was taken from the site and brought from Leptis Magna to the British Museum in 1816. And this is a photo of it. And I'll let you know something. This just might be an excuse as to why there are more columns here in England. And the real stuff was just taken from the site in Libya and never shown to us. It honestly blows my mind that nobody has ever questioned this before. Why hasn't anyone ever read this and said, yeah, that is kind of odd that they were just going to all these sites within the last 200 years and never before that, all over the world, and taking their stuff and just moving it around to different places in the world, undocumented, not showing us exactly what was taken, all for research, right? No. Obviously, they're not showing us today everything that was taken, what items were found, and what items they still have. And then you have to ask, why did they need to take it away from the site? Just like we saw in Syria, where they took it to Damascus. They tell us that they needed to move it due to the rough climate. Yet, it was there for thousands of years and doing just fine, hiding our true past. And then telling us that questioning their pathetic, sketchy coded narrative is such a wild thing to do. Not anymore. This was a clear operation taking place within the last 200 years when Italians conquered Italian Libya in the 1900s. Our timeline. They dedicated huge efforts to the rediscovery of Leptis Magna in the early 1930s. Italian archaeological research was able to show again the buried remains of nearly all of the city. Buried remains. The event that wiped out the previous civilization, just like we have shown over and over. An event that melted structures, buried people, buried structures. A mud flood, buried remains. A necropolis was found underneath the Roman theater. Again, there is more going on under the structure than what we can see. The land that we all stand on is not even close to what is really here. We all understand this now, with the tunnels, the catacombs, and the rest. This is incredible. And I'm just gonna blow your mind right now. I'm just gonna step away from this site for a minute and show you that the old world and this topic, this research, is just insane. A 120-mile drive up the coastline, we are given the ancient theater of Sabratha. Yet again, another old world palace theater that of course was abandoned after a fire because the AI throws that into the narrative every single time. A nod showing us that it's not from our timeline, where Italian archaeologists rediscovered the theater in the early 1900s. Yet again, our timeline. Not the 1500s, not the 1400s, not 700, and not 1600s. It is consistently the 1900s or the 1800s when they begin to excavate the theater in 1927. It was no more than a mound of sand and masonry. Let's think about this for a second. Can you even imagine what is underneath all of that sand in Africa? It has to be mind-blowing. Oh, and here's our friends. They've been taking care of this site since 1982. So nice of them. And the place is totally fine, we are told, for centuries. And then as soon as our civilization comes around, yet again, the site goes on the list of World Heritage in danger in 2016. Of course it does, because there's a clear operation to destroy these structures and hide our true past. These sites are not in our textbooks for a reason. Seeing these locations, these sites, these structures, it opens the doors to understanding that the history that we are all given is total nonsense. We are not evolving. We are not advancing. We are as advanced as we are allowed to be. And that's the reality. Now that we have an understanding that this is not a one-off, and there's another one right up the road, we can now go back to the original site, Leptis Magna. Since it's located on the coast, and has been for 2,700 years, we are told, the ruins are now vulnerable due to sea level rise. So for 3,000 years, everything is just fine. And then our civilization starts up, and all of this chaos happens all over the world. Why didn't the oceans rise in 1492? Why not 980? Why not? Why is every situation happening now in our timeline within the last 200 to 300 years? Well, you tell me. Now I'll be clear. I'm not sure if the sea level eventually does switch, because we do see palace-like structures all the time underneath the water. I don't know what this place that we all live is capable of. I don't know what events take place here, like clockwork. I just don't believe that we all show up and out of nowhere, the ruins are now threatened by rising water levels, when this place has been parked beachfront with a great ocean view for 3,000 years, we are told. And in 1520, it was just fine. In 1180, it looked great. But in 1999, we're all worried now that the water's gonna rise. Now, if we go here on Google Earth, we're going to see that there are multiple stage-like structures. And then we also have the old basilica up here at the top. And this thing is absolutely incredible. This place right here, I think I could set up a TP and just look at it for the rest of my life. Wait till you see this. Look at the detailed stonework right over here to the left. And then look over here to the right. And there's something in this picture that I'll revisit later in this episode if you missed it. At this point, we know this was not done by a hammer and chisel community. Whoever built this had incredible tools and incredible training. Let's zoom in on this. Look at the detail with human-like figures with their heads gone. Of course they are. Just so detailed. Even on the sides here, absolutely incredible. Clearly telling us a story about where they lived and what was going on here. And then this guy's head is also gone. And then he's riding around on a griffin-like animal. And if you're on the fence about the griffin here, I'll keep going. This is so clearly, worldwide, a deliberate attack on the individuals' faces. I believe this is to hide what the people actually looked like before us. I actually feel like this episode has turned into a show and tell at this point. But I feel like this site completely deserves it. I can't believe that this is a place that we can all go and see today. It does not fit in at all. And then we get this statue, where this is clearly a griffin. Hands down, no doubt about it. You even get the wings on the side. So we've seen them in every single continent now. We've seen it in Wisconsin. I believe that's episode 41. We saw it in India. We've seen it everywhere. The griffins were here. A clear connection to the old world, the previous civilization, and the flag of Tartaria. We just saw that there's a griffin. Well, not just one griffin, there are two. Another one right here next to it. I am absolutely shocked that they allowed those to be seen by us today. I think we've seen enough depictions and evidence to this point, worldwide, that these griffins were here 100%. I don't think that the people of Africa were randomly depicting griffins, while at the same exact time without cell phones, we have the same depictions over in other continents of griffins. Clearly, this animal was here and was very important. So revisiting this picture, the one I talked about earlier, you can see now what is in the middle at the top. We have the griffins looking over this place. Going over here, can anybody tell me what this says? Or has it been destroyed too much at this point? Or check this thing out. If you're a master translator, let me know what this says and I'll post it in the future. With more just destroyed and chopped in half. And then set over here nicely. Like it just randomly fell like that. Perfectly on top of those planks of wood. No. And then check this out. Clear depictions of angels right here at the bottom. We have now seen this depiction way too many times in too many locations for it to simply be dismissed as mythology. This is a depiction of what they knew about the world, in my opinion. We've seen angels and demons depicted underground in stone structures over in Italy while constructing a road. Another angel right here. And again, I personally believe that these were depictions of the world that they all lived in, the world that they knew. And I don't believe that this was thousands of years ago. I believe that this was the world that was here a few hundred years ago. Adding the 1,000 years pushes us further away from the truth. And a massive reset took place, reinstalling all of us through orphan operations, great fires in every city to destroy the old world's work. And restart this operation, placing us back in bonnets, parking Seabiscuit the horse out front of the market to bring home jam for supper. Again, take a look at this depiction. How many angels can you see? Am I missing any? I see 1, 2, 3, and 4 up here. Continuing up this thing, look at this. We have a centaur, or in other words, a horse guy, with a giant baby angel riding around on a lion. So it's no wonder they didn't start this place off in History 101. And then this column looks like they just shaved every single one of those faces right off the side, all the way up. Oh, it's just from weathering. The weathering just attacks the faces, not the body and not the arms and not the legs. No. What an incredible location. A location that I'm so glad thousands of us will never forget. And like I've shown, there are multiple sites within this land layout. We also have the Temple of the Septimii, where they have this depiction, where their legs look like snakes. Who the heck were these beings? And again, inside the museum, so many things clearly found at this site that would depict a very different history than what we've all been told. So why should the depictions that are found at the site in stone, marble, and granite, why should these depictions be less trusted than what somebody that was born in 1930 wrote inside of a book about this site? I believe that we have it completely backwards for far too long. Again, my personal trust goes towards the stone structures that were depicted at the site, rather than some guy that was born in 1930, writing all about it and telling me what to think. Again, insane detail with their heads all gone, completely hiding the past. Same thing here. It looks like they just took a saw and took the head right off these statues, as well as the arms in some cases, because they were most likely holding something. I was waiting for somebody to say this in the comments, but I'm just going to say it at this point. They possibly had more fingers than we do today. 2 Samuel 21:20. And there was yet a battle in Gath, where was a man of great stature, that had on every hand 6 fingers, and on every foot 6 toes. So this site is home to multiple palace stages, like we have shown. And like we have shown, it holds this massive arch, where there are angels all over it. It's just art, of course. And remember, Johnny Boy wrote all about it in 1947. He told us that it's all myths and there were no angels. There weren't actually angels. Why don't you try picking up a textbook once in a while? Angels all over this thing. You can also see that massive sections of the depiction have been removed. This whole area down here has been cleaned up nicely. Same thing up here at the top. and then again on the left. This statue's head is literally sawed off perfectly. I'm not sure how much clearer it can get. That they don't want us to see what was here before us. They don't want us to know. Hammers and chisels and Donkeys Incorporated, your stone, granite, and marble shipping company, established in 2023 BCE. Rain, snow, or shine, that palace would get done. And before I forget, if you're interested in more information on the angels helping construct the old world, we have episode 75 and episode 91, where we go into great detail on this subject. Now, this place also holds the hunting baths. Again, this was found and cleared in 1932 to 1933. And just look at them. They look so different than what we're used to seeing from the past. They really look like they were constructed in the 1930s, not found then. If I had to take a guess, I would say that this has been restored by our civilization after they found them, at least the exterior. And then the chairman of the Department of Archaeology of Libya lets us know that the decision was taken to restore the hunting baths. So they have restored it. Now, what is this anyway? Supposedly constructed in the year 145. On the dot. I feel like at that point they definitely could have gave us a month. Why stop at 145? Tell us the day and the time. It was 11:14 a.m. in the year 145. On a sunny day, not a cloud in sight, and the hunting baths were being constructed. 145. Amazing. What a joke. Used for hygiene, relaxation, and a place for social interaction, and some business meetings in 145 AD. Just swinging some deals in the back. Some corn for some cabbage. There were some great business deals getting done in the baths. Now, let's check out the inside. All of this being buried under our feet until the early 1900s, our timeline. We have found so many things that are under our feet. We have found incredible sites, locations that have been hidden for far too long and are now being shared with so many people. I just want to say thank you all again. This has been life-changing all around. I look forward to researching this topic and sharing what I'm able to find, the best way that I know how. We're now able to find a new location or topic, gather all the information and expose it to the world so much faster because of all of you. Patterns within the narrative, everything from fires to the catacombs, AI narratives, hiding depictions of the past, angels, tunnels, griffins, hidden maps, caves, and the rest.